Hey guys, and welcome to day 2 of Scoliosis Awareness Month from me. Today I'm going to be doing causes and facts about general scoliosis and what scoliosis is. Sorry if I keep looking down this way, it's because my laptop's there. I've got some definitions to the side on my laptop and stuff. So to start off with what scoliosis is, I looked on a few of the websites. I looked on National Health Service for the UK, I looked on the medical dictionary, and it all just basically says the same thing. Scoliosis is literally just a side-to-side curvature of the spine. And so what I'm going to do is 1, facts, 2, causes, and 3, a little bit about getting diagnosed, and then tomorrow I will do all about different forms of diagnosis for scoliosis and what can be done. So, without further ado, 1, facts. So it's thought that as many as 8 to 10 causes of scoliosis are idiopathic, which is the cause unknown one. So that is when it can literally be over a month for some unknown reason you get curvature of the spine, and that is the one that I had. And actually, when you think about it, that is a lot. 8 out of 10. That's like 20% of people that have scoliosis don't have idiopathic, so it's quite a fair amount. And then there are also medical reasons why you may get it. So the medical reasons which may cause scoliosis are just 3 ones quickly: cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, and Marfan syndrome. And in the UK alone, scoliosis is thought to affect 4 out of 1,000 children and 7 out of 10 adults. And on the surface, 4 out of 1,000, you don't think, okay, that's not very many, but when you think that in my senior school there was 1,000 students and 4 of us at the same time were out with this disability, it is quite many and actually affects, quite a few people. I mean, I know alone from me getting scoliosis, I have come into contact personally with 3 other children, girls, so therefore that makes us 4 out of the 1,000. So yeah, 7 out of 10 adults sounds quite many, but that's mostly because when adults are diagnosed, this is for 65 ages and older, and when they're diagnosed when they're younger, a lot of the time, well obviously now, when they were children there was nothing that really went on, and so their scoliosis was allowed to get worse and worse and worse. And that's why now there's such a high number of adults that have it. But when you look at that compared to the children, 4 out of 10, 4 out of 1,000 get it, and 7 out of 10 get it. So it is less in children than it is in adults at the moment, but it's still quite a lot of children. Anyway, so that's basically it for just some random little quirky facts. And now on to number 2, causes. So obviously the causes, like I said, are idiopathic, medical and hereditary, which I said yesterday, and I'm just going to go into a bit about them before I go into symptoms. So idiopathic, if you're a teenager, what you'll be diagnosed with is idiopathic adolescent scoliosis. And basically that just means cause unknown. Adolescent is obviously adolescence, and scoliosis is the medical condition. And it literally can be as easy as waking up every morning of a month and having a back pain, and your back just starts to get worse and worse as it goes along, and you get scoliosis. Generally they tend to say scoliosis is when you have a curvature of more than 10 degrees outside of what your spine should be, but that's just idiopathic. Medical is it's not really something that you think is a symptom of, say, cerebral palsy, but it's just because if you have that medical condition, you are restricted in many ways, and your back and your spine isn't as supported, and so, like with the idiopathic, it collapses. So that's really where the medical comes in, and it is generally, from what I've been told, it's medicals, which is when, if the operation ever goes wrong, it generally tends to be towards those people that already have medical conditions, because it's just so very well, delicate, that area anyway. And then the hereditary condition. So as far as I've known people, having idiopathic scoliosis won't mean that it's suddenly in your genes and you will pass it down to your children. That was something that I remember asking when I got told about the hereditary, and I don't quote me on this to any doctors if you go to see them if you have scoliosis, but from what I've read up about it and things, hereditary is literally just like if you are blonde, brown, ginger hair with blue eyes, that type of thing. It is just something in your genes that you have, and sometimes it's passed down, and that will be passed down straight through birth, and you may get it as soon as you're born, or you may get it at a slightly older stage. Quick fun fact about me, my aunt, who very sadly passed away, I was diagnosed with scoliosis afterwards, and then when we were thinking about it, we were like, she was very tall and she always had a back bend, so we don't know whether she had scoliosis and whether maybe part of mine was hereditary, but it definitely wasn't for my mum and dad, and as far as the doctors are concerned, or no, it was idiopathic. And then the last one is one that I could say, and girls watching this could freak out, and please don't, it's very rare, but it is when it's formed in the womb. So for some reason, when the baby is, when the bones are all forming and it's very delicate, the mother may take a knock, or the baby may not form a specific way, and like with any disability really, the baby may get knocked about and the bones don't form properly, and therefore you get scoliosis, and that will literally be as soon as you're born, it's obvious. I'm not really sure what they do for babies because, like I said, I'm not a doctor, and everything that's going on here will be from my personal experience. I would think it would just be a matter of bracing and keeping an eye out of it. But so definitely the three main causes are, well, the two main causes are idiopathic and hereditary, and then medical is like a byproduct of it, and then the womb one is quite rare, which I believe. So obviously causes make symptoms, and if you think you may have scoliosis, then don't think you're going to hear one of these and be like, oh my goodness, I definitely have scoliosis, that's it, life over. It's not like that at all. A lot of people have backaches, and a lot of people have, I don't know, a few of these things, and it can be a number of things, and it can be just a case of you've been working too hard. So but definitely if you have more than one of these, or if you think that you may have some of these and you are a little bit worried, there is nothing wrong with going to your GP to get it checked out. That's what they're there for. That's why I went and got mine checked out, and yeah, so don't be afraid because they see it more often than you think. So the most obvious one in the world is obviously back pain, and from what I can kind of describe mine as, it was just very stiff and achy. You know, like if any of you do DFE, or any of you do lots of sport, or you do lots of gardening, and you've been bent over for a long time, and you get that stiff feeling, and when you like move your shoulder blade back, it just kills, and you just like, ugh, it's like that, but it's like right in your spine, right in the middle of your back, and mine was just constant every time you move, and it's that kind of backache. It's painful, so it's not just like a little bit of a when you've been sit down for too long and you do get stiff. So that was my back pain. You may have others, but that's what, when I've spoken to people, that's what it tends to be. Then there are the second symptoms, of which is what my parents sort of mine. So actually it's quite hard when you're a teenager to kind of be seen in your living environment by your parents that you may have the starting symptoms of scoliosis, because, well, I'm pretty sure that most teenagers of my age, some of you may be different, but my parents don't tend to be in the showering room when I'm getting showered or getting bathed, and quite a few of my friends aren't either, because, you know, 14 to 16, you kind of don't want your parents in there with you. So, and obviously you can't see your back, and when you first get scoliosis, it is more you can see it more when you're, you know, topless and looking at the back, and you obviously can't see it back, so you need someone else to look at it for you. So it's hard to see, but it all happened. I will go in tomorrow in my story, but for me it was my shoulder blade. So if for some reason you feel like you may have a pain, please show a good friend, parents, you know, someone who you really trust. I'm not saying go get topless in front of everyone, please don't do that. If you do that, that is not on my head, but someone who you feel comfortable with, and just get them to check it. If not, go straight to the GP. But the second kind of symptoms are having one shoulder higher than the other, so that'll be looking at them, literally one shoulder you'll see is higher than the other because the spine is curved. The next one is the shoulder blade is out of place. So if you think of it, mine, if you have your two hands on your shoulder blades, one will be more prominent than the other, or maybe this way, or it'll just be more prominent. You will be able to see it. The next one is that your hip may be more pronounced. So actually I'll put a link or a picture right now. And that'll show me of when you can see my hip is really pronounced and as an S. So yeah, and then you've got your clothes not hanging properly, and that's not, again, that's not disclaimer that if you go and try on a dress and it doesn't fit you properly, you think, oh my goodness, I have scoliosis. No, it's just if clothes that used to hang on your shoulders, stuff, they just look a bit out of place on your spine and your shoulders and your hips, that may be a cause. And then the other huge one is obviously if the child leans to the side a lot. So if you notice yourself like you're always veering towards one side, or in the pictures you naturally can't stand up straight, then that's obviously a huge one. Then you have like the third type of symptoms, which they are these are more like the serious, if you have serious conditions. So that is things like, because obviously the spine affects a lot of your body, and if you don't have control over that, then you can lose control over a lot of things. So that is things like erectile dysfunction, loss of bowel control, loss of bladder control, and numbness or weakness in. So yeah, your blood just can't flow properly, and you just lose control. Yeah, for me personally, it was I found it a bit hard towards the end to breathe very quickly because it started pressing into my lungs, and that was my third symptom. And now finally moving on to number 3, getting diagnosed. So 3, getting diagnosed, obviously your first thing is someone may spot it, or you may spot yourself you have some of these symptoms, and then the next immediate thing you do is book yourself into your GP. And if anyone is like me, I don't really like the GP that much. Who does like the doctor really? You're not going to go up there if you're feeling splendid, you're always going to go there if you're feeling a bit worried about something. So yeah, go straight to the GP, and a lot of the time they will ask you to take your top off immediately and bend over so they can see your spine. And I was really conscious of myself 3 years ago and really didn't want to, but you know, it has to be done. They see much worse, and you'll be so grateful if they say, no, everything's fine, just thanks for coming, or they may say, okay, next step. If that happens, the next step is you will go see a specialist. If you are at a GP in like a village or a town, you will generally go to your next biggest hospital, or the next hospital that specialises in scoliosis. So for me, my hospital kind of closest to me would be the Great Western, but at the time they didn't specialise in scoliosis, so I went all the way to the Nuffield in Oxford. I didn't have my operation done at the Nuffield, I had it at the John Radcliffe, but the Nuffield was where I had it done, and that's where I saw my specialist. And from my specialist I then went to his private clinic, but that was a whole different story. So yeah, the next thing you'll do is go see a specialist. You will then immediately normally have an x-ray so they can see exactly what's going on. Generally then you will be taken straight into the specialist's room and he will sit down with you and he will go through what's going to happen. So for me it was a case of standing in the waiting room, getting called through, sitting down and him saying, you have scoliosis and we kind of need to do the operation. So that's what happened for me. So yeah, and then after you've been to see the specialist, the next thing you will have to do is an MRI scan, which is they will see further, and after that you'll have your individual needs done. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, tomorrow I'll be doing ways to treat scoliosis, and then the day after that my own story. So yeah, I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye! Oh. Are we ready? Oh, maybe not. Oh. Can hear all the shouts downstairs over football. Please be quiet. So I put on a jacket. I think it looks okay now, or does it just look like I'm wearing a jacket? Oh, hate starting videos off. So yeah, 7 out of 10 adults doesn't sound that many, but, oh well, no.